saw the thing coming out of the sky. It had a one long horn and one big eye. I commenced to shaking and I said, "Ooh, it looks like a purple people eater to me." It was a one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater.
One-eyed, one-horn flying purple people
A
eater.
one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater sure looks strange to me. Oh, well, it came down to earth and did
All right. Welcome back to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. Second one I'm putting out today, because it's my day off. I may or may not put out more today. I'm not sure. I'm going to take a bath because I need to shave and bathe. I just filled out an application to Publix, so hopefully I get the job because I really do want to work there. I only make $12.50 an hour where I work now. $13 if I work kitchen, you know. With the economy and shit, it's kind of hard to live off of that. Luckily, knock on wood, I'm doing amazing financially, but a lot of that is just money that I stacked up and saved when I worked at Kroger. In my opinion, dude, first of all, like Trump, is it just me or I keep hearing the economy is amazing. We're doing amazing with the economy. I haven't seen anything fucking go down. And I don't know. I'm not an economist. I don't know. I hear that it's because of the tariffs, but then I also hear that the tariffs are like a scapegoat, and a lot of big businesses and fat cats and wolves of Wall Street at the top of the pyramid are like using that as an excuse to raise prices and shit. All I can say is, like, in my personal opinion, here in Kentucky, where the economy, cost of living is cheap and it's just easier to live, they should still, if you're not making $15 an hour, that's not a living fucking wage. But Publix, when I went to the job fair last year, yeah, I think it was last year, they were offering me $18 an hour to be a cashier. It fell through, which it wasn't meant to be, but I don't know, man. So hopefully I can get that gig, you know. So I did that today. I got at least some of the job hunting done. Internet's being weird. I'm going to take a bath and shave. I am feeling a little tired, so I don't think I'll put out another episode. But in the month of October, I try to do spooky stuff. So I got this book the other day at a book signing, Paranormal Kentucky. I got to meet Mason Smith. He was really cool. Go check that episode out. And also, where this is, local places and stuff, I got to go and visit during one of my vacations to Hopkinsville, Kentucky. There is a famous story of the Hopkinsville Goblins who came down in a flying saucer and terrorized a family inside of a cabin. And, yeah, they based a Pokemon off of it, Sableye. It's a famous fucking story. There's in Majora's Mask, the Legend of Zelda, the UFO sequence and stuff is based off of Hopkinsville Goblins. And I got to go up there and go to the museum. I got to go see the flying saucer that they built at the park. It's pretty neat stuff. So I think I covered it in an episode, my Hopkinsville Goblin vacation that I did. But yeah, let's get into it, man. So yeah, grab you a cup of coffee, grab you a beer, light you a cigarette, get cozy with a kitty. Let's enjoy Halloween. So in 1955, newspapers across the country carried front page headlines such as "Kentucky family describes mysterious little men who visited their farm in spaceship," "Night of the Living Green Men," and local residents left gog-eyed over flying saucer reports. They referred to a disturbing encounter between a western Kentucky farm family and up to a dozen glowing, 3-foot-tall quote-unquote little men who terrorized them throughout the night of August 21st, 1955. Two of the adults engaged in a one-sided gun battle against the intruders, who peeked in the windows and harassed the family for hours. So they were like poking little goblins looking through the window. You know? It's awesome. Among the most well-documented UFO cases, it's listed as one of the quote-unquote classics by Edward Ruppelt and first director of Project Blue Book, which I told you guys before. We're going to do a whole episode covering Project Blue Book one day. Because it's one of those, as someone who grew up with a ufologist father who was really big into aliens, and growing up watching like 90s UFO and alien documentaries and shit, Project Blue Book is definitely one of those, well, like it said here a second ago, quote-unquote classics in ufology as far as conspiracy. And you guys know me, I love covering the current stuff, but I also highly enjoy the conspiracy classics, you know. This frightening incident occurred near Hopkinsville, outside the tiny town of Kelly, which I have visited and stayed there, with a population of 150, mainly farmers, plus a gas station and a few small churches. The overnight ordeal that shook 8 adults and 3 children inspired countless movies, including E.T., the Extraterrestrial in 1982, which, by the way, back when William Cooper was a ufologist, before he figured out that he was caught up in a psyop to progress Project Bluebeam and all that jazz, he actually did an episode of The Hour of the Time, where he had discussed that E.T. was based off of a supposed actual alien named E.B., who was kidnapped and interrogated and tortured by the U.S. government and sadly died, if it's true. Could be a psyop, though. And episodes of several TV shows such as The Twilight Zone and The X-Files. Even a Pokemon, Sableye, which is what I just said, is based on the creatures who dropped by uninvited and overstayed their earthly visit. One imaginative reporter called the aliens Little Green Men, which caught on despite eyewitnesses describing them as being silver-skinned, wearing silver suits, or having bodies that were nickel-plated or like aluminum foil. Which would make sense because apparently, like, foil in general helps stay off the radiation of the Van Allen radiation belt, which in my opinion is aka the firmament, lower Earth orbits. If planets are real and physical, and these entities came from a planet and had to go through the Van Allen radiation belt, of course they would be wearing foil. This is tinfoil hat shit. Apparently green was already part of the collective imagination where aliens were concerned. The Hopkinsville Christian County Convention and Visitors Bureau refers to Rudyard Kipling's 1906 children's book, Puck of Pook's Hill, in which the little green men are actually humans tattooed green. Edgar Rice Burroughs in 1912, a novel, A Princess on Mars, depicts Martians as green. That sounds like a cool book. And in 1934, 25th century comic book hero Buck Rogers battled green alien monsters. By 1961, little green men were referenced in the Oxford English Dictionary as mysterious beings alleged to have been seen emerging from flying saucers. The uninvited, unexpected, and unearthly visitors mentioned in the Encyclopedia of Monsters were also referred to as gremlins, spacemen, Marsmen, flying tubmen. It just reminds me of Harriet Tubman. Sorry. Goblins and hobgoblins. Take your pick. which we just call them around here the Hopkinsville Goblins. Whoever they were, and whatever their color, their sudden appearance caused a commotion. Here's what happened that night in 1955 based on official reports, newspaper and magazine articles, books, and other sources we consulted. The family, including 25-year-old Lucky Sutton and his 50-year-old mother, Glennie Langford, plus some guests, had spent the day rabbit hunting, visiting relatives, and attending Sunday services at the nearby Kelly Holiness Church. They gathered at the farmhouse for supper around 6:30 p.m. After the meal, while the women readied the children for bed, the men started a card game, gambling, drinking moonshine too, because I know this story. Even with the doors and windows open, it was hot inside the house, which had electricity but no air conditioning and no indoor plumbing or running water, so they had to have an outhouse, which is common back in the day around here. Between hands, 21-year-old Billy Ray Cyrus, a family friend, went outside to cool off. He rushed back into the house, insisting that he'd seen bright blinking lights from a flying saucer that looked round and metallic, and had streaks trailing behind it, like the colors of the rainbow. Billy Ray swore that it landed behind some trees in a nearby cornfield. Dun dun dun! The aliens have landed. Shit, my theatrics made me lose my place. According to Lucky's daughter, Geraldine Sutton Stith, no one believed Billy Ray at first, since he was known to be a prankster. However, everyone grew concerned when the family's hound dog, Old Blue, reminds me of Cool Hand Luke, Old Blue, began frantically barking, and Billy Ray and Lucky found him cowering under the house, tail tucked between its legs, obviously spooked by something. The mystery quickly intensified when the men noticed a luminescent little man approaching the house from the field where Billy Ray said the UFO had landed. All the adult witnesses described the creature as short, with large, round, glowing eyes, long arms, claws or talons on his hands, a muscular torso, but thin, spindly, stick-like legs, webbed feet, a bald head, a cone-like nose with a ball on the end. So like Goblin, man. Or almost, it reminds me too a little bit kind of like a Kappa. We'll have to do a whole episode on Kappas one day. The Japanese Kappa demon. If it's, I mean, it could be alien. I mean, if it's not of this world, it's alien in general, but makes me wonder, are they little Kappas or goblins? Fae folk? What are these? What is it? No neck and a small slit for a mouth. His ears were large like an elephant's, and they flapped or wobbled when the creature moved. Also, the intruder didn't walk. He either hopped, floated like telekinesis, floating around like Magneto. I love it. Or skimmed the ground, or used his long arms to propel himself like a chimpanzee. Everyone referred to the alien as he, although there was no way to tell its gender. Which, by the way, that ties in with the theory that usually it's with the Greys, but that aliens are actually time travelers from the future, and by then we don't have sex organs because everyone just doesn't have sex. They're asexual, and with the way the trans movement is moving, and how the Sabbatean Frankist occultists are like moving forth the proposition that everyone should become like a Baphomet, kind of makes sense. Sorry. By all accounts, the creature had his hands raised in a friendly gesture. I come in peace, or like maybe like that. Indicating that he came in peace. He carried no weapon, made no drastic movements that appeared hostile, and did not speak or make any sound. If the creature was extraterrestrial, perhaps he was simply lost and needed directions. Maybe he was searching for somewhere to refuel for the long journey home. Or perhaps he just wanted to introduce himself, and later his buddies. Yet the family felt threatened by the creature's startling arrival and bizarre behavior. So Billy Ray and Lucky reached for their guns. A double-barreled shotgun and a .22 caliber pistol. Welcome to America. You ain't from around here, are you, boy? You know. Lucky guarded the front door. Billy Ray positioned himself at the back door, and the women hid the sleepy children under the bed. Although the intruders never tried to get inside, they apparently looked in the windows, lurked around the house, and even climbed up the roof. So they're like invading, dude. Some of them made it inside. Some of them were peeking through the windows, like I said. Can you imagine being a child during this and like little goblins, you know, looking through your window, or you can hear them scurrying around the house like gremlins? I don't know. I believe in all sorts of weird stuff. You guys know me. I ran from a UFO. I've had experiences. I've seen a demon in my closet, or a daemon, or djinn, whatever it was. I've seen a thunderbird. I've seen all sorts of things, man. The Washington Post and Times Herald reported on August 22nd, 1955, that the creatures kept coming closer, even after the men fired warning shots into the air. The fuck out of here, boy. So the next shot was aimed directly at the aliens at close range, about 20 feet away. Over the next 20 minutes, the men fired 50 rounds. So these motherfuckers were just packing, baby. Causing considerable damage to the house, but apparently not injuring the trespassers. So they shot into the house while the children were in there. That's a little concerning. I don't think CPS was around back then. In fact, the bullets seemed to ricochet off of them, making clanging sound, as if striking metal. If the impact stunned the alien, the spry fellows quickly recovered, did a backflip, fled into the nearby woods, and hid into the trees. So right here, it says that it was described as foil that these goblins were wearing. This reminds me, so I'm a huge fan of Art Bell, and this actually ties in with the conspiracy of what happened to Art Bell. Was he killed by the government? Hang on just a second. Was he killed by the government? Because he admitted that someone had sent him from Roswell a piece of foil that if you crumbled it up, it would literally go back to normal shape. It was like invincible, almost like adamantium that Wolverine's made out of. And then he died mysteriously right after he got this piece of metal. And then the guy from Blink-182 started working with the Podesta, John Podesta, and they started up To the Stars Academy, which is sketchy as fuck. And the Blink-182 guitarist, like, he's got, like, Freemason connections. Like, he doesn't even hide it. He's got the G and the scale and shit. Which, like I said before, like, Freemasons tell you they're Freemasons. It's not really that big of a secret. They're usually pretty proud of it. They buy all the merch. And you're connected with Podesta. That's sketchy as fuck. So after Art Bell mysteriously died, they suddenly have a piece of a Roswell crash that's a foil that when you crumple it up, literally the exact same description that Art Bell had. The theory is that they killed Art Bell, allegedly, and took that piece from Roswell. That reminds me of what these goblins are wearing. That they're foil, but when you hit it, it's like bulletproof. Like ting, ting. You know, adamantium, dude. I'm wearing my beanie now because it's a little cold here in Kentucky. Alright. The Suttons didn't have a phone, so they couldn't call for help. The gunfire continued off and on for the next few hours. Still, the aliens didn't retaliate. Once one on the roof grabbed Billy Ray's shirt with his clawed hands, but that seemed more like petting a dog than trying to harm him. So it sounded like he was kind of just curious, like, I want to touch it. This human being, God-man. While hunkered down, the family noticed that the aliens didn't like the light. Mogwai, no light, no light. You know. Billy. They are like gremlins, man. It wouldn't surprise me if, like, what was it, Spielberg who created Gremlins? Took inspiration from this, which Spielberg's conspiratorial as fuck. It seemed to hurt their eyes, and loud talking or yelling appeared to hurt their ears, so they didn't like sound either. Like gremlins, dude. During the standoff, Glennie tried to get some sleep, but woke up screaming when she spotted one of the little men staring into her bedroom window. Lucky and Billy Ray rushed to her aid and opened fire, shooting out part of the window screen. So they're just blowing holes in their house. It probably looks like Swiss cheese. Which, apparently, when we visited, if I remember correctly, the house was still there, but it's kind of abandoned. The family still owns it. They mow the lawn, but the locals don't really want to tell you where the house is at. And I don't blame them, because it's illegal to sneak into places, which me and Sammy are not above the law. But we still break it sometimes. Like, we snuck into Witch's Castle and went there. We sneak into shit all the time. I don't care. It is what it is. But we don't destroy shit while we're there. So I would have loved to have, like, went there and checked it out and seen the bullet holes and shit and document it, but... And I get it. Now that it's generations later, the family's like, dude, just stay away from the house. Like, it's probably more of a burden than anything, because most of them are probably either like non-believers or it's just annoying to them, you know? Eventually, the family ran low on ammunition. So it started at, like, what was it, 6:30 it said in the afternoon? So at around 11 p.m., so 6, let's just say 7, we'll just round up, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 hours having a shootout and dealing with this invasion. 4 fucking hours. During an eerie silence, the physically and emotionally drained adults grabbed the hysterical children, dashed to their 2 trucks, and raced 8 miles to the Hopkinsville police station. The panicked people all started talking at once, until the desk sergeant calmed them down. "We need help," one man pleaded. "We've been fighting little men all night," Glennie added. The family explained their predicament and expressed their fear that aliens would return. Police Chief Russell Greenwell, who had arrived to handle the curious emergency, was convinced that their story was sincere. Everyone seemed to be sober. I've heard reports that they were all drinking moonshine and admitted that later. Which, by the way, even playing devil's advocate, like, I've been an alcoholic for years. Alcohol doesn't make you hallucinate unless it's absinthe, you know, which I have dabbled in absinthe, but the whole pink elephants shit, like, you don't hallucinate. And if you did, here's how you would hallucinate. If you actually did hallucinate on alcohol, you would have to be like 2 or 3 days sleep deprived, not have eaten for like a month or something, and just like super highly intoxicated with alcohol. Then maybe you would hallucinate. But even then, it would be like a small trip. Like, you would see maybe a spider crawl up the wall and that spider's not actually there. Or a shadow person in the corner of the room and you just look over and it disappears, you know. It wouldn't be a 4-hour trip of seeing little goblins. That, and how did everyone see it all at once? Even the children who were sober. So, kind of leaves some credence to this story being credible. And all 11 had genuinely been unnerved by something. Greenville called for reinforcement and 20 officers responded. Hopkinsville Police, Christian County Sheriff's Office, Kentucky State Police troopers, and even some military police nearby at Fort Campbell, toting machine guns, rifles, pistols, sped to the scene at around 12:30 a.m. The Army base stressed that the MPs were acting on their own and not on orders, of course. The authorities searched for about 90 minutes, but found no evidence of a crime scene other than the bullet holes left by the family's gunshots. Missing were blood, bodies, and footprints. Which they did say when they were shooting them, it was just going ping, ping, just bouncing off, dude. Though there wasn't any definitive proof of a UFO landing in the field, so no crop circle, no radiation, unless they didn't test for radiation. Chief Greenwell found a strange luminous patch of grass where the creatures allegedly fell from a tree. So the grass was glowing where the creatures had fallen from the tree. So I would love if they went up with Geiger counters, you know. And one of the witnesses' relatives, Gail Cook, later insisted that there was a big burnt spot out there where nothing would grow. And this is Kentucky talk, so I mean that's literally how it's printed. Like, I'm from Florida, so it's kind of hard for me to talk Kentucky talk, you know, sometimes. But the August 7th, 2005 edition of the Tennessean reported that such a depression could have been a sinkhole, a common occurrence in western Kentucky, which is true. Devil's advocate. Later, the Sutton family insisted that no clues were found because the searchers were using flashlights and the creatures could only be seen in the dark when they glowed. So the creatures were glowing themselves. That's why the family had been huddled inside the house with the lights off. After all, the officers left around 2 a.m. The family claimed the little men returned. More shots were fired until 5:15 a.m. So they came back and had another gunfight. When the aliens finally tired of their first contact with the hostile human race and left, not necessarily with a good impression of Kentucky hospitality, their departure was apparently as spectacular as their entrance, with the spaceship resembling a bathtub, emitting exhaust that was all the colors of the rainbow. Unfortunately, the next day brought more invaders. So, night number 2. Hordes of neighbors, reporters, and other curiosity seekers. Oh, okay, never mind. Different type of invader. Police set up roadblocks to control the crowd. The exhausted family tried to do normal things to take their minds off the unsettling night. The men went hunting or ran errands that left the women and children to put up no trespassing signs to discourage onlookers from walking about their property. When that didn't work, the family tried to charge 50 cents admission fee. There you go. James and the Giant Peach, man. Charge, you know. I would do the same fucking shit. I ain't gonna lie. $1 for information and $10 for taking pictures. However, they never collected 1 penny. The crowds just kept coming. People even walked into their house and weren't shy about stealing souvenirs. All of the people trampling through the field and around the house would have destroyed any evidence that might have missed the previous night. That's pretty fucking shitty. So, like, they even try to capitalize off of it. And the people were just like, nah, we're just gonna, like, trudge through your fucking yard and come in your house and steal your lamp and your blanket. And I want a souvenir that says I was here. And America, Kentucky. You gotta love it. So what do you guys think of the Hopkinsville Goblins? Do you think it's legit? Do you think it's real? If you're listening on Spotify, I will put down in the link below any sort of reporting I did on Hopkinsville when me and Sammy visited. There was another related episode that I was going to put on there too. We've done a lot of cryptozoology and paranormal investigation, so yeah, just check out the channel in general. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I have a Buy Me a Coffee account set up in the link below. If you would like to donate, it would help the channel. It pays for pens, papers, notebooks, all that jazz. Hope you guys enjoyed. Happy Halloween!